Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are doing our daily pitching preview show with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Right now we're looking at the card from Sunday, May 10th. Joe Duffy, you're having a successful year in baseball once again this year?
Successful year in baseball, and as we follow this, the NBA playoffs have been very well. I don't know if there's any sport that I'm completely immune from a slump. I'm not going to make these ridiculous claims, but baseball, we haven't had too many over my that'll be my 28th anniversary on June 1st, in fact.
Okay, well, I'll tell you another guy who doesn't have too many slumps, Felix Hernandez. Maybe you're the Felix Hernandez of the handicapping world. Is that accurate, Joe?
Yeah, I've been professionally handicapping right about the time Felix was born, I guess. But yeah, that would be a pretty good analogy. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, is he going to be awesome again? You got to think probably. Jesse Chavez on the other side, maybe not as reliable, but can hang tough. And in Seattle, it's kind of an equalizer. And Felix Hernandez is not like Scherzer, where he's pitched really well but been a good bet against because they just haven't won his starts. He's still 5-0 in his starts, so Seattle has been winning. It's going to be a big line, favorite line though for Seattle here, right? What's your take on this pitching matchup?
It is, but as you said, you got two good pitchers, so even with the low total, you might want to strongly consider going with the under because two excellent pitchers, not like either one of these offenses are tremendous. I know Hernandez has good numbers against Oakland, but you'll struggle to find too many teams that he doesn't have a good number against. It's a little tough because, as I said, I guess as a handicapper, I always try to find value, and I try to find maybe good pitchers that are going to be a good go against here, and that's not the case with Felix here. So I don't know if there's a huge advantage based on at least my early metrics.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is this total will be 6 at most, right?
Yes, that is correct. That's what I said. It's going to be a low total, and most of my good systems with totals would say to bet low totals over in certain situations and higher totals under.
All right, and then two of maybe the highest profile up and down pitchers in the game, R.A. Dickey and Clay Buchholz, and they're facing off against Boston and Toronto. Both these guys, of course, can be very hittable, and when they get hit, a lot of times they get crushed, especially Buchholz. But then, after a few awful starts, both of them can come in and be like, 7 or 8 innings of shutout ball with 3 strikeouts and no walks. Where did that come from? Well, who do we expect to do well here? Who do we expect to get crushed?
Dickey, though, these knuckleballers throughout history tend to be a little streakier than most, and the fact that Dickey is coming off of a pretty good outing, and like I said, Boston, they seem to be hitting a little bit better as of late, at least as we do record this. But still, I think Dickey might be in a pretty good situation to bet on because he does seem to be coming around, and these knuckleballers tend to be a little bit on the streaky side.
So if you had to pick one of these guys that you would expect to maybe be more likely than the other to have a good game, it would be Dickey?
Yeah, yes, I would say Dickey, but like I said, I'm getting a little bit nervous about Boston's bats starting to come alive.
All right, and then what's your take on Ryan Vogelsong? Because I'll tell you, he had an excellent start at home at his last start out of nowhere, at least to my eye. I bet against him in that one pretty big, and that was a loser for me. He's going to be at home again, which gives him some protection going up against the Miami lineup, a lineup that is capable but not necessarily awesome. What do we expect from Vogelsong here?
90% of the game is half mental. He's crediting it to making a mechanical adjustment. Whether or not that truly is the reason, I don't think it's as important as if he believes that's the reason. When it comes to pitching, it's very important to actually believe that. So I think that Vogelsong maybe is starting to turn it around. And in fact, in his last 2 starts, he's pitched very well, 2 earned runs in just 13 innings. But Latos, remember, he got off to that awful start, and now he's starting to pitch well. So it might be a good situation where 2 guys don't have great overall numbers at all, but both of them might be pitching well.
Yeah, you don't have to do much to convince me of taking an under in San Francisco. I'm always, and because, we usually get on this game, it won't be lower than 7. We might get 7.5. I can say, so you expect a generally decent start from Vogelsong then?
And San Francisco, that's one of those cities where you especially got to take a look at the wind speed and the wind direction. But I actually think that both pitchers, including Vogelsong, who you asked about, would be in pretty good spots to start. They look like they are turning it around.
Talk about mechanical adjustments. Someone should maybe write a email or a tweet to the Detroit Tigers pitching coach, right? Shane Green. Mechanical adjustments. Make one, right? 3 straight horrific starts after 3 straight awesome starts to start the year. What do you make of him, and what do we expect from him in this his 7th start?
You are correct, and again, I would lean towards a guy who's shown that he's been streaky, just tend to ride the streak. So I would say, if anything, just keep riding it and fade him.
Fade him, really? All right, because I mean, it was just 3 starts ago where he was just awesome game in and game out, and he's a sinker ball. I know the sinker ballers tend to be more volatile in their results than non-sinker ballers. Do you think that there's something fundamentally wrong with him right now, or do you think that it's just kind of fluky? He's had 3 straight bad starts, and if that's the case, then maybe this would be a great start to try to time a bounce back by him. You think that's a foolish thing to do?
Well, it could be, but you got to realize that when guys are struggling, sometimes they do tend to make the over adjustments. And it's a case where if we're talking about a stud who's struggling, then maybe you look for him to bounce back. But you know, my early lean would be to say just keep riding the streak.
All right, and then a guy who I don't think can make any mechanical adjustments to save his career, my only recommendation might be the knuckleball, maybe, is John Danks, right? He's getting, he just looks like he has nothing. He looks like he has nothing. He's still starting, though. He's going to be at home against Cincinnati. Is he going to get hit hard against Cincinnati here? Again, if so, then you got to bet on Cincinnati one way or the other, all the ways you can, right? What do you think? What do you make of John Danks in the start?
In my 90% of the game is half mental theory, the old Yogi Berraism. Danks, who's you know, at times has pitched well. He does have a nice interleague record, 10-7 interleague record with a 3.09. So
yeah, but that's including when he used to be great.
Yeah, but again, I do think that pitching can be so mental. That's maybe something to hang his hat on. But I'm not saying that I'm going to jump on Danks right now. But I'd be a little bit nervous about that because
I don't know.
Like
I think there's a big mental aspect to pitching. If you don't suck, if your goose isn't cooked or whatever. But you get the sense that Danks just doesn't have it. That there's nothing he can do that's going to fix what ails him as far as his arm is concerned. You disagree with that?
I mean, yeah, he does have an ERA of 5.65 over his last 3 starts, but I mean, that's not like extremely pitiful. It's not like he's just getting beyond drilled. I think there's a good possibility he could bounce back, but
he's gotten hit for quite a while now, though, Joe, right?
Yeah, no, he has. But am I going to put my money on him? Am I going to put my money where my mouth is? No, I don't really have a super strong feel about him either way. It's not. There's plenty of things I'd be willing to debate with you, but I'm definitely not going to go to the hill with John Danks. That's for sure.
And then the last thing I want to ask you about: Wandy Rodriguez and Drew Smyly at Tampa Bay. Smiley's been quite good. Rodriguez off a good start. Was that an illusory good start for Rodriguez, or can we expect him to start to have a string of impressive results? If so, maybe we like an under here in Tampa Bay. What do you think? I think Smiley's for real, though. We can assume that, right?
No question about that. Wandy Rodriguez, I don't know, another one of those so-so veterans who's good enough to just remain on his staff, but he's not somebody who I would look to continue to have back-to-back quality starts. But in the case of Drew Smyly, you're correct. He's been tremendous. He's also pitched very well. 9 career appearances, includes a little bit in relief, but he's got a 2.25 ERA against Texas, so he's pitched well against them. I see no reason to not bet on Smyly here. And Rodriguez, you know, let's talk to me when he puts together maybe a nice stretch of 5 or 6 outings where he pitches well.
So Joe Duffy, pretty sold on Drew Smyly, not quite sold on Rodriguez as yet. All right, that's all I wanted to ask you about from Sunday. Joe Duffy, what would you like to bring up?
Tough to argue with a stunning, shocking record. Zach Greinke, 21-1 to the National League West. The Dodgers are actually 45-20 in all of his starts as an LA Dodger. You know, how can you go against a 21-1 stat or even a 45-20? Scott, you know, those people who like to bet those first 5 innings, there have been some good pitchers over the years, even some Hall of Fame pitchers who have struggled in the first inning and then seem to settle down. But Houston Scott Feldman, he's certainly not a Hall of Fame caliber pitcher, but he's really gotten drilled lately in the first inning. So maybe he might be somebody you want to bet against in the first 5-inning line.
Those Colorado games, yeah, at Coors always make me a little bit nervous, but you can take advantage of the uncertainty there for sure. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, thanks so much.